So good morning everyone. My name is Abhay Singh and I welcome you all in today's video analysis of the Hindu. Today is 27th of July 2024 and we'll start with the first topic for the day. And the first topic for the day is that the Supreme Court is set to examine if governors are subverting federalism. Now, what is this meaning of subverting it? So basically, they were trying to hamper the concept or the idea of federalism in itself. Now, there was a petition in the Supreme Court by the Kerala state government. Now, while hearing this petition, court has clearly asked this specific question if governors are subverting federalism. Now, let's directly delve into this particular topic. The Supreme Court on Friday agreed to examine if governors, by indefinitely sitting on crucial bills only to eventually refer them to the president, who solely acts on the advice of the center, are opening the doors for union interference in the legislative domain of states, thereby subverting federalism. So basically, what court had said that many a times governor is sitting on a bill, that governor is not actually giving assent to the bill, neither it is returning back the bill. So basically, neither it is giving assent to the bill nor it is returning it for the reconsideration. And after keeping it for a long time, what governor do, that they transfer the bill to the for the presidential assent. And once the presidential assent comes into the picture, the important thing that we have to keep in our mind, that president works on the aid and advice of the council of ministers and prime minister. So basically, this particular tool gives the one indirect, this particular method or this particular thing gives an indirect tool to central government to interfere in the state legislative matters. Now we have to understand one thing, that the thread of federalism is is a very sensitive yet very powerful. So the responsibility is on both center and states as well to maintain or to to strengthen this particular thread. The petition was filed by the Kerala government, because the governor of Kerala, Mr. Arif Muhammad Khan, he has kept so many bills for pending. So many bills are pending. So many bills are pending in Kerala for the last 2 years, and and many of those bills have been transferred to the presidents for their assent. So the control of governor gets over once he transfers the specific bill for the consideration of president. The decision of the court to intervene came in a petition filed by the state of Kerala, which brought into focus the role of its governor, who kept bills pending for 2 years before reserving seven of them for consideration of the president, who has no discretion and entirely depends on the aid and advice of the center. The president had subsequently withheld consent to four, though none of the seven bills had dealt with center-state relations. So basically, what Kerala government had, what Kerala government had stated in the court, that the governor of Kerala has reserved so many bills for has reserved so many bills for last 2 years, and and after 2 years those bills were sent for the consideration of the president, and president works on the aid and advice of the center or the cabinet minister. Now, once the bill is transferred to the president for his assent, the state has no control over it, the governor has no control over it. And the bills which were transferred to the president, they were not related to central state relations at all. So basically, the question which arose again, that what is the need of transferring such bills to the central government, to the president, which are not related to the central state relations, which do not affect the central state relation, then why these kind of bills are transferred to the central government? So basically, somehow this particular petition by the Kerala government will open the doors for so many states which are non-BJP ruled, because the complaint against the governor or the role of the governor has become quite dubious in so many states in India. Suppose taking one example of governor of West Bengal, CV Ananda Bose. He has done the same thing. He has done the same thing, that he has kept so many bills for the so many bills. He had kept so many bills in the reserve category, not in the actual reserve category. He had kept so many bills and he's not giving the assent to those bills. And he has transferred so many bills to the president for his presidential assent. Just to, again, you have to understand one thing: governors are appointed by the president of India. President of India works on the aid and advice of the council of ministers. Now it is said in the polity that the governor acts as an agent of center. So this one thing is clear, that the role of governor is not that partial, not that impartial, that much we think. The role of governor is very dubious. We have to understand that the president appoints the governor and president works on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. So there are so many states in India which are non-BJP ruled, and the governor is causing a lot of problem there. Taking one example of Kerala, another example of West Bengal, another example of Delhi. So these are the things that we have to understand, and the interference of court becomes very important because end of the day, it is the court, it is the court in which we have utmost faith. Now moving on, the next good news is coming from Assam. The next news is coming all the way from Assam, and what is this next news? That a specific burial site has been included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. So now moving into the news, the Sharadio Moidamas, a 700-year-old mound burial system of Ahom dynasty. Now the important fact that we have to keep in our mind are that it is in it is in Assam. Second, it is 700-year old, and it belong to Ahom dynasty. It is in Assam. It is a 700-year-old burial site, and the name of the site is Karadio Moidamas. Now, the Karadio Moidamas, a 700-year-old mound burial system of the Ahom dynasty from Assam, were added to the UNESCO World Heritage List on Friday, making them the 43rd property from India to be included in the prestigious index. So basically, this burial site has become 43rd property, or the 43rd site that has been included into the UNESCO World Heritage List. Now this particular site is in Assam, and it is a burial ground. It is a burial ground. Now moving on, the announcement was made at the 46th session of World Heritage Committee being held here. The historic recognition brings global attention to the unique 700-year-old mound burial system of the Ahom kings at Charaideo, highlighting the rich cultural heritage of Assam and Bharat. Now basically India is culturally so rich. We have so much of diversity. So basically this particular recognition is kind of approving this fact that we are a culturally rich state, we are a culturally rich country, and this particular property has become the 43rd site from India which has been included into the UNESCO World Heritage List. The Moedamas are the first from the northeast states to be recognized as a World Heritage Site in the cultural category. Assam has two other such sites in the natural categories, Kaziranga National Park and Manas National Park, both upgraded to Tiger Reserve. So basically this particular site, this Cariado Moedamas, has become the first site from the northeastern state to be included into the UNESCO World Heritage List, and the category is cultural category. So in cultural category, this particular burial site has become the first site from the northeastern state to be recognized as a World Heritage Site, and two other sites from the Assam are also included in this particular list. And what are those two other sites? And these sites are included in natural category. These sites are included in natural category, and these sites are Kaziranga National Park and the Manas National Park. These two national park has been upgraded to the Tiger Reserve, so they are upgraded to Tiger Reserve. These two national park have been included into the natural category of UNESCO World Heritage List. Caro, Caradio Modamas is the basically first site from the northeastern state which has been included into the UNESCO World Heritage List in the cultural category. There have been total 43 sites from India which have been included into the UNESCO World Heritage List. Now moving on to the next important news headline. This is the kind of important news because overall there are only 43 UNESCO World Heritage sites, and the 43rd is this Caradio Moidamas. Now moving on to the next important news headline for the day. So just before the commencement of the new session, the administration of Delhi University has announced for anti-ragging measures. So this is a kind of important news. Now moving on to the next important news. CBI arrests 43 cyber criminals from call center in Gurugram. Charge sheet filed against 7 accused in Pune car crash. Now we will focus on this particular news. Solid waste management in a sorry state in capital, said by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court The Supreme Court on Friday said solid waste management in Delhi is in a sorry state and may lead to a public health emergency. So basically, what Supreme Court has said that the solid waste management in Delhi may lead to a solid waste management may lead to a health emergency. It is said by the Supreme Court. Going by the Municipal Corporation of Delhi affidavits and timelines, there are no possibilities of adequate facilities in Delhi till 2027 to treat 11,000 tons of solid waste. No guesswork is needed that by then solid waste generated will multiply. It is a sorry state of affair in the capital city and can lead to a public health emergency, a bench headed by Justice ASOka observed. So now, what is important in this particular news that the Supreme Court has clearly stated that after analyzing one affidavit which is filed by the Delhi Municipal Corporation that in Delhi there will be it will take another 3 years to develop adequate facilities to treat solid wastes in Delhi. This particular affidavit was filed by Delhi Municipal Corporation only. And after observing and after analyzing this particular affidavit, Supreme Court had clearly stated the situation of solid waste management is in a sorry state of affair. And we have to take adequate step before this solid waste becomes a huge problem for the state of Delhi. Why? Because you will develop facilities by 2027, but what will happen till 2027? The waste will multiply so many times and the people will face the direct impact of this particular thing. And that's why there are chances of a sort of health emergency. This will create a situation of health emergency. So basically, this is one news that is coming all the way from Supreme Court. There are two important news items that are coming from Supreme Court. First was related to the powers of the governors and governor sittings on the bill for the indefinite period of time. And the second one is related to the waste management. Now, the another important news is that is coming all the way from Madhya Pradesh. Now, there are various states in India which are providing reservations to the Agniveers in the police and various forest guard and various government institutions. Now, we have to understand initially it was a state of Haryana which has provided a 10% reservation to Agniveers in posts like forest guard, home guards. These kind of posts, Agniveers get a 10% quota in the state of Haryana. Now this is state of Madhya Pradesh. Agniveer soldiers will given reservation in recruitment for police and state armed forces. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Mohan Yadav said on Friday on the occasion of Kargil Vijay Diwas. So on the occasion of Kargil Vijay Diwas, the Madhya Pradesh government has decided that it will provide a reservation to the Agniveers in various police forces, in various departments of the government like state armed forces, state armed forces, uh, home guards, forest guards. So these are the things where these Agniveers will be provided reservation, and the news is coming from the state of Madhya Pradesh. Now, Centre's response to Kerala appointing foreign cooperation officer unfortunate. So basically, what Kerala has appointed foreign cooperation officer, and center has called this particular appointment as unfortunate because as per center, this particular domain, the appointment of a person in a foreign cooperation in such capacity is not the domain of the state government, because the this particular item, this foreign ministry thing, that foreign affairs falls under the union list. So union is certified, and union is authorized to make laws related or to make appointment related to such domain. But what Kerala government has done, that they have appointed a foreign cooperation officer, and the union government has clearly stated that this is a violation of constitutional values. That's why this appointment becomes very controversial, and I hope this decision will be reversed. Why? Because this is a blatant attack on the constitution. This particular appointment is violating or undermining the constitutional values. That's why this particular appointment becomes very important for us. Now we are moving into the next important article, and this particular article is very important. The author has chosen the topic very smartly. Author has chosen the topic very smartly. So basically, this particular article is focused on the various kind of data that is taken from the students who are in school, and what kind of steps are taken by the government to protect that data, because there are a lot of private companies which are involved in collecting this data. So this author is basically trying to focus on this thing only, and she's basically what she's trying to explain here, that basically this is a data driven world. This is a data driven world. 21st century is all about data. So what steps government is taking to protect this data? And there in India there are 26.5 crore students. So, do we have enough resources to protect the data of 26.5 crore students? These are the various questions that have been discussed under this article. There are various schemes of the government which have been also discussed in this article, such as APAR, APAR scheme, then UDISC plus program. So these are the various things, and it has been related with National Education Policy of 2020. So this article is very important. We will start the article with the first paragraph in itself. The Indian school education system is one of the most expensive ecosystem in the world, composed of approximately 15 lakh schools, 97 lakh teachers, and nearly 26.5 crore students enrolled from the pre-primary to higher secondary levels. It boasts of stakeholders from varied socio-economic backgrounds. So in India, there are more than 26.5 crore students. There are 26.5 crore students in India. To realize its objective of managing the wide-ranging education system in India in a sound manner, the Ministry of Education conceived of the UDISC Plus platform in 2018. Now, what is this UDISC plus platform? First, we have to understand what is this UDSI platform and why this particular platform was created by the government of the India, by government of India. So we have to understand why, what is this UDISC program. So please write down the full form of UDISC. So the full form of UDISC is Unified Unified District Information Education. So basically, this is the full form of UDSI, Unified District Information System for Education, and why UDSI was created. So why UDISC was created? So UDISI was created for collecting information. So it was created for collecting purpose for collecting information from all recognized and unrecognized schools imparting formal education from pre-primary to class 12th. So what is UDISC? So UDISC is the Unified District Information System for Education, and it was created for collecting information from all the recognized and unrecognized schools which are imparting formal education from pre-primary level to class 12th level. So this was the objective what UDISC was created in 2018. The UDISC plus plays a crucial role in collecting and exchanging real-time information on school infrastructure, teachers, student enrollment, and academic performances. Now, what all the information this UDISI collect? So this collect various information like school infrastructure, teachers, student enrollment, and academic performances. By improving the process of resource allocation and the monitoring of educational programs, UDSI is also notably utilized to map educational trends. The objective of strengthening administration and optimizing service delivery is charted out as the ultimate goal of this exercise. So basically, what this UDSI do, that it basically collects information. It collects information and it basically help in finalizing a blueprint, and also identifies the current educational trend, and help us in forming policies accordingly. The policies are framed as per the current educational trends. So basically this particular program, UDISC plus, helps in identifying those trends, and helps in policy making. In terms of the National Education Policy 2020, the ministry also introduces APAR, Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry Identification. So APAR was introduced by the Government of India as per the or on the sidelines of National Education Policy 2020. Now what is this APAR? So APAR is nothing, it is a kind of enrollment number. It is a kind of enrollment number, it is a kind of a student ID card. One student, one ID. What is APAR? One student, one ID. Now under APAR you will be given a 12 digit number. A student will be given a 12 digit number in APAR. What will happen in APAR? That a student will be given a 12 digit number. A 12 digit number in APAR. So it will act like one nation, one Aadhaar card, one nation, one student, one APAR card. Meaning thereby that government of the day will introduce a 12 digit APAR number to each and every school going student of this country. Each and every school going student of this country. So why this particular concept came into existence? So basically when this is basically about the APAR. APAR is basically a 12 digit student ID number, and APAR was created. So suppose take one example, under this particular scheme APAR, all the credentials and all the academic records of the students uh, will be will be kept in ABC, Academic Bank of Credit. Academic Bank of Credit. In that particular Academic Bank of Credit, the all the information of the students will be kept in ABC. Now, when they will transfer schools, or when suppose take one example, I and my parents were living in Lucknow, but after a few months, my father got transferred to Jabalpur. So I have to move with him to Jabalpur. Now, after reaching Jabalpur, I have to take all my academic records because I have to take admission in some other school now. So what will happen, that under this particular scheme APAR, my academic records will be kept in Academic Bank of Credits by using this 12 digit APAR number. And when I'll go to that school in Jabalpur, I will just log in into my this ABC portal, and I will log in using this 12 digit APAR number, and I will access my all I will access my academic records and will present it to the college. So basically these are the benefits of this particular scheme, that you don't have to take your academic records from one place to another place. You can do it by you can connect it, or you can reach to all the information by just logging into that particular portal. Now let's talk about the APAR more. This serves as a unique identifier of a given student. This facilitates the collation of academic credential of student at one place. The demographics information per user so collected includes Aadhaar information obtained with a voluntary consent based mechanism. So what are these information that are being collected? So your Aadhaar information is also collected, and there are no such mechanism. We have not developed a robust mechanism to protect this data. So that is the main problem. This is not about the given that we Indians have the problem in sharing the data. No, we don't have the problem with in sharing the data. We have the problem with the fact that that data protection and data theft are two important things of 21st century. A lot of data is stolen, but we need to have a robust system so that we can prevent any kind of leakage. And we are not talking about a small set of data. This data is basically is of around 26.5 crore students. So basically we have to protect the data of these 26.5 crore students. That is the main objective of this particular article. Entities such as DigiLocker and EdTech companies frequently collaborate with state governments. They consequently form integral constituents of the modern education system. Interlinking UDSI plus APAR in the manner explained above exposes student data amassed to such actors in the educational ecosystem. So now basically the author is what point author is trying to make here, that there are so many intermediaries which are which are acting as a service provider, they are acting on the behalf of the government of the day. Now we have to understand that the middlemen are involved, such middlemen, these are not middlemen, actually these are the actors which are connecting students and the government. So now what if there is some kind of data leak from their side? So again, this is the thing which this particular author is trying to make, that we have collected so much of data and there are so many actors which are involved in the process. Now what is the guarantee that our data is safe with those students, with those actors? Now the Education Ministry commendably formulated a data sharing policy for school education and literacy in 2020 after the National Education Policy. However, this is yet to be updated to reflect the regulatory overhauls post the enactment of Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. In the absence of clear regulations or minimum standards, their compliance with the act comes under question. So basically, there are no rules and regulations to control all these things. A policy was formulated, a policy was formulated in 2020, but this particular policy that was framed in 2020, that is National Education Policy. And after this National Education Policy, what government did, that they have asked companies or other actors which are acting as a middleman, they to make sure that data is clearly protected. But again, there are no regulatory steps which are taken by the government, so there are no established minimum standards. So there are no established minimum standards which a middleman or which the actor have to follow. So again the data comes into question. Again, there are numerous potential pressure points wherein non-compliance of the involved actors may materialize. For instances, there is limited guidance on what constitute verifiable parental consent. Consent from parents of minors data sought under the UDSI plus APAR scheme may violate this requirement. Moreover, the DPDP, Digital Personal Data Protection, DPDP Act emphasizes the importance of collecting personal data for specified legitimate purposes only. Sharing children's data under UDSI for a purpose incremental to the authorized one could violate this statutory requirement. If you are taking data for some purpose and you are utilizing it for some other purpose, then there will be a conflict of interest, and this will also violate so many laws. The ministry acknowledged the benefits of sharing student data at a national scale, for instance to track intra and or interstate in student migration. So there are a lot of benefits of sharing this particular data, that's why government is collecting so much of data. But the problem is not about the problem is not about at which level you are collecting the data. The problem is with the fact that are you able, or are you competent enough to protect that data, then there will be no data leakage. And what is the guarantee that if a data is taken for a specific purpose, if the data is taken for a specific purpose, then that data will be used for that specific purpose only, that data will not be used for any other purposes. So these are the various kind of questions which are coming into the mind. Now there is a very famous case, Justice KS Puttaswamy versus Union of India. Justice KS Puttaswamy versus Union of India, this is the case in which Supreme Court has declared right to privacy is a fundamental right. Right to privacy is a right to privacy is a, now it was held in the case of KS Puttaswamy versus Union of India in 2018. Supreme Court had actually acknowledged that privacy is a fundamental right of a person. Now in this particular judgment, the Supreme Court has recognized privacy as a fundamental right and laid down the three-part test against which state action must be adjudged. So basically, in this particular case, KS Puttaswamy versus Union of India, Supreme Court has developed a three-stage test, and this particular test will be, this particular test is a kind of, standard to check whether the government, or how the actions of government should be adjudged, or how the actions of the government should be judged in the context of privacy of the citizens. So these three conditions are there exist a legitimate state is interest in restricting the right. So basically, first important test is that the government should have a legitimate interest. The government should have a valid interest in a good interest, a good have should have a good faith while restricting the right to privacy. So basically, if you are giving the data, if you are giving data to, if you are allowing different actors and mediators to collect the data of the students, then you should have some legitimate state interest. You should have some valid state interest. The first test was that the state should have a valid state interest. The second was such a restriction is necessary and proportionate to achieve this interest, to achieve the interest. So basically, the Supreme what the next text was the next test was that the Supreme Court had clearly stated that these kind of restrictions should be proportionate. मतलब आप जिस तरीके की restrictions लगा रहे हैं वो restrictions proportionate होनी चाहिए जो interest आप achieve करना चाह रहे हैं. This was the second test. First test was that the government of the day should have valid state interest. The second one is that the restriction should be proportionate to the achievable to achieve the interest, which means that आप उतने ही restrictions लगाइए, उतने ही restrictions लगा सकते हैं जिस proportion में आप interest यहाँ पे claim कर रहे हैं. आप उससे ज़्यादा. Now the last is the restriction is imposed or affected by law. So basically, and the third important test is that any particular or specific law has provided for this kind of restriction on the privacy. Now, the need for specific protocols regarding exchange of personal data of children for an unspecified purposes, integration of third parties such as entities like DigiLocker could also raise doubts on the role thereof. Identification of actors who qualify as data fiduciary, data processors, and data principal would be required from a liability affixation standpoint. This is a complex task and is presently not being undertaken, although the privacy policy of APAR dictates certain data security array, aggregation, third party integration, retention requirements, sharing of personal data of children for an unmentioned purpose may require specific protocols which are absent. So basically, this is the last paragraph that we are dealing here with. That so basically, the author is trying to question. The author is basically questioning these third parties which are providing various kind of services like DigiLocker. Now these particular authorities, are acting as a qualified data fiduciary, which means here as they are acting as a trustworthy organization which can protect or control your data. Now there has been a certain kind of there are certain protocols that if you want to use the data for any other unspecified purpose, then you have to follow certain rules and regulations, then you have to follow a protocol. But again, the protocol is missing. You have said that the unauthorized use may require a certain kind of protocol, but that protocol is missing, which clearly tells about the seriousness with which government is taking care of the data of the students. So government is not concerned at all. Queries regarding interoperability, consent, and grievances are redressal abound. Standard operating procedures, both technical and legal, under an overarching governance framework are a pressing priority. Such protocols will facilitate preservation of data authenticity and prescription of legal obligations for stakeholder concerned. Now, what the author is trying to say here, that basically we have to take more robust step and we have to take more concrete steps so that we can protect the data of each and every student, because in India there are 26.5 crore students, and the middlemen which are acting as a service provider, they have to take these things in account and they have to frame policies accordingly. And if there is no protocol for the for a situation where authorized agent or authorized company has utilized data for some other purpose for some other purposes, then what will happen? So these are the things that we have to understand are important. Now we are moving into the second important article, and second important editorial is related to BIMSTEC. Now we'll start with the full form of BIMSTEC itself. So BIMSTEC stands for Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. Now India has hosted the second BIMSTEC Foreign Ministers Retreat. So basically, India has hosted the second edition of Foreign Ministers Retreat in New Delhi. So now basically this particular retreat has provided an informal platform to discuss ways and means of cooperating and accelerating action in security, connectivity, trade and investment within Bay of Bengal. So what are the various things that have been discussed under this second BIMSTEC Foreign Ministers Retreat? Accelerating action in security, connectivity, trade, and investment within the region of Bay of Bengal. The retreat was held in the preparation for the sixth summit meeting scheduled for September, in which the BIMSTEC leaders will meet in person for the first time in the post-pandemic era. So in September there will be a BIMSTEC leaders meeting, and this is the for the first time. This is the first time that this meeting is taking place post-pandemic era. In the post-pandemic era. So after 2020, there was no meeting of BIMSTEC leaders in person to person. So this is the first time that this meeting will take place in the month of September. They are also expected to sign the BIMSTEC agreement on maritime and transport cooperation to improve regional connectivity, a foundational aim of this grouping. So now the this particular meeting which is going to take place in the month of September becomes very important. Why this particular meeting becomes very important? Because this particular meeting will have one important agreement, and this agreement is related to maritime transport cooperation to improve regional connectivity in the BIMSTEC area. So that's why this particular agreement is increasing the importance of BIMSTEC meeting that will take place in the month of September more. Now, BIMSTEC is a regional organization devoted to the Bay of Bengal. So basically, BIMSTEC is focused on those countries which are in the Bay of Bengal only, with a membership of five South Asian and two Southeast Asian countries cooperating across seven diverse sectors. It allows New Delhi, so BIMSTEC has total seven members. It allows New Delhi to engage multilaterally with the other countries of the Bay of Bengal region, which are its eastern neighbors and therefore vital for its economic development, security, and foreign policy imperatives. So now, there are seven members and of the BIMSTEC country, and in summit like this, India will get a chance to develop our relations more with these countries. We will seek cooperation from the other countries as well, and we will have a clear policy making ability. We will have a clear policy making ability if we will meet with so many countries. And also, we have coastal areas as well, and the countries in the Bay of Bengal region also are very important. So this particular meeting will help in achieving so many things like economic development, security, and foreign policy imperatives. India also remains intent on solidifying relations with eastern neighbors as China's growing presence in the Bay of Bengal. So basically, what India is trying to maintain its relations, India is trying to better its relations with so many countries because of the increasing influence of China. Strengthening ties with Bangladesh and Myanmar accords India the advantage of providing its landlocked northeastern region with access to the sea. No, so now the map we are helping Myanmar a lot. We are strengthening our ties with Myanmar. Now, why Myanmar becomes very important? Myanmar is a landlocked country. It does not have any access to the sea. So basically, India will provide this access to the Myanmar, and so basically, we are trying to stabilize and improve our relations with so many countries. Improved ties with Myanmar and Thailand will also lend India the opportunity to have more profound presence in the Indo-Pacific the ASEAN, as it holds the ASEAN in which these two countries are membered to be of. Now, the retreat was divided into two parts. In the first segment, participants assessed the current state of regional cooperation within BIMSTEC, building on a presentation by India on the implementation of key outcomes of the first retreat. So basically, this particular meeting or this retreat was divided into two parts, and the first part was to introspect the BIMSTEC in itself. Now, what is this introspection? So basically, they have to assess the current state of cooperation amongst the BIMSTEC countries. So this was the first retreat. Multiple ideas were shared by the member states. So basically, there were a lot of sharing of ideas by the various countries. In the second session, the expectations of each country from the forthcoming summit were discussed. Sri Lanka underscored the need to map mineral resources and found in abundance in the BIMSTEC countries and create opportunities for the vertical integration of stages of production within specific sectors in the economies of the countries, enabling them to diversify their production structure. Now, in the second stage, it were decided that each countries which are taking part in this particular meeting, they have to discuss their expectations. What are their expectations with the coming up BIMSTEC summit, which is going to take place in the month of September? So Sri Lanka had discussed that we should map the, we should map the mineral resources which are found in abundance in BIMSTEC countries. So this was stated by Sri Lanka. Bangladesh has different kind of demand. Bhutan has different kind of demand. Nepal has a different kind of demand. Thailand has different kind of demand. So all the countries have a different kind of demands. We don't need to go into these kind of demands. But again, we will look into the bilateral merits. What are going to be the bilateral benefits of India? While the retreat was a multilateral milestone from India, it had bilateral merits too. Mr. Jaishankar met several of his counterparts on the sideline. He shared with Myanmar India's concern over the flow of displaced persons, narcotics, and arms across the border and urged for the return of unlawfully detained Indians. He also held a meeting with the Bangladesh Foreign Minister who requested him to ensure the smooth supply of daily essentials and so basically, these are the things which are discussed, at the BIMSTEC, this particular BIMSTEC foreign ministers meeting. This year marks a decade of India's Act East and Neighborhood First policies, and the thrust of BIMSTEC is a manifestation of New Delhi's effort to continue nurturing collaborative growth for national and regional well-being. So basically, what we are trying to do here, that we are trying to provide support to the all the neighboring countries, because we want to make our relations good with these countries because of the increasing influence of China. China is contributing so much. China is investing a lot of money in building and in improving the relations with the neighboring countries. But again, we have one advantage over China. That advantage is the advantage of image. We have a better image than China, so we have to incentivize this image, and that's why we need to improve the relations with our foreign countries, because many of these foreign countries are also the neighboring countries of China. So somehow they are trying to influence. So they are getting influenced by China. So we have to take this advantage. So we have to utilize these kinds of platforms, that when we meet these leaders who are from our who are from our neighboring countries, then we should talk more about our stabilizing the relation. India has done a lot of things to improve our relations with the neighboring countries, and one such action was this vaccine Matri initiative. We have provided so much of financial aid in our budget to various countries. So these are the things that we have to understand, that the need of ours is to provide financial assistance to the various neighboring countries. Then only we can seek their support in some tough situation. Now, moving on. Minister dug questions on legal guarantee for MSP, says opposition. So this is all the way from Parliament, but again, it's a political news. There is nothing important. Now, no. So yesterday it was Kargil Vijay Devas, and on the eve of Kargil Vijay Devas, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, on the eve of Kargil Vijay Devas, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has defended this Agnipath scheme. So with this, it had become quite sure that this Agnipath is not going to be scrapped by the government in any time. So 17 shared top rank as NTA declared final result of NEET UG. So after the judgment of the Supreme Court 2-3 days back, finally the National Testing Agency had released the data of has released the NEET 2024 result, which was earlier declared on June 4. Now after the lot of malpractices have been uh, registered all around the country, this particular case went to the Supreme Court, where the petition was filed in the Supreme Court that there have been so many irregularities and malpractices involved in the conducting of NEET examination, that the examination should be scrapped and there should be a retest. But after observing the petition and after hearing on the petition, a three-judge bench of the Supreme Court has decided that there is no need to cancel this examination. There is no need for a retest. The malpractices were not at such level that we have to organize a retest. So Supreme Court has clearly upheld the validity of NEET 2024, and it has said that the scores and the marks which were scored by the students, all the things are correct. There was a problem with one question. That problem was resolved too. There was a problem with one question, but that problem was resolved too. And yesterday, the National Testing Agency has released the scores of NEET 2024. Now we are moving into the business sector. So basically, the Indian Sugar and Bioenergy Manufacturers Association, ISMA, Indian Sugar and Bioenergy Manufacturers Association ISMA said it met Union Minister of Food, Public Administration and Consumer Affairs Prahlad Joshi and made a detailed presentation seeking a policy framework for transition of sugar mills into biorefineries. So basically, the Sugar Mill Association of India ISMA is requesting the Consumer Affairs and Public Distribution and Consumers Affairs Ministry, Mr. Prahlad Joshi, that these sugar mills should be transformed into biorefineries because this will help in solving the problems of the sugar mill owners, and also we are shifting from non-renewable to renewable sources, so that's why this particular request will be taken care of. Now this news is very important. The European Union has transferred 1.5 billion euros had been made available to support Ukraine, the first chunk of money earned from profits on Russian frozen assets. So, after selling and after getting interest from these frozen Russian assets, the European Union has earned around 1.5 billion euros. And these 1.5 billion euros have been transferred to the state of Ukraine for fighting war, for defending himself. So, this is great. This number is quite big, 1.5 billion euros. Now, Olympics स्टार्ट हो गए अब दिस इज फ्रॉम यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका मिशेल ओबामा एंड बराक ओबामा फॉर्मर फर्स्ट male and first female of first male and first lady of United States of America has supported Kamala Harris or endorsed Kamala Harris as a presidential candidate, and she's endorsed by Kamala Harris is endorsed by Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Now we are coming on to the sports section. The sports section has so many pages today. It has 5 pages, so it is because of Olympics. So this is about the hockey player PR Shrijesh, then, and this is about the opening ceremony and various other sports. So see, Mr. Sharat Kamal Achanta. I have told you now that Mr. Sharat Kamal Achanta is the flag bearer, and PV Sindhu will also join him. So basically, this look at him. He is Mr. Sharat Kamal Achanta and she is PV Sindhu. So they were the flag bearers. So they are the flag bearer at the 33rd Olympics, which are happening at which are taking place at Paris. Now there is nothing important. So basically, with this we have completed the news analysis of 27th of July 2024. I hope you have understood the important points. I hope you understand the important point, and if you have any kind of doubt, then do punch in your questions in the comment section. And please do like this particular video, do like the video, and you can leave your important suggestions in the comment section as well. So with this we have completed the news analysis of 27th of July 2024. We'll meet tomorrow again at the same time. Till then, bye bye, take care. मिलते हैं फिर कल से वापस.